Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Hey, Primal Tech peeps. Welcome back to another special edition of Rebellion Reborn. We got lots of news for you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the smooth stylings of Ricky's British voice.
Okay, guys, so San Diego happened, and in the lead up to San Diego, there was a lot of stuff that started coming out over various outlets, so we're just going to go through them. Obviously, I'll put links in the description so you guys can find them and read them for yourself. First thing that came out was stuff about the Heroes Reborn computer games. There's going to be two. One of them is going to be console and PC. And the other one is going to be tablet games. So yeah, the two games are called Heroes Reborn Gemini and Heroes Reborn Enigma. They're overseen by the writers, some of the writers of Heroes Reborn and Tim Kring himself. Basically, Heroes Reborn Gemini starts off with you taking control of a character called Cassandra. She's got the powers of localized time travel and telekinesis. And in Heroes Reborn Enigma, you deal with her younger sister called Dahlia, who escapes a place called the Quarry. Dahlia has the same powers as her sister and is going to be appearing or have at least a couple of cameos in Heroes Reborn. The only person who kind of links both games is someone called Trevor Mason, who is an antagonist, and he has the power of pyrokinesis.
Did they say how much those are going to be, or do we not know yet?
Nope, as per usual. They just have given us the bare bones of everything, and they will hit us with a price later.
You gotta let a sister know, man. I gotta plan my financial situations here.
So Tim also said that he always had games in mind when he started Heroes. He wanted that kind of multi-platform kind of storytelling, but he said the tech just wasn't as good back in the day to kind of go forward with the idea. So he's glad that, here we are in a kind of a better tech age. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the games because I'm not a real big fan of that kind of first person aspect of gaming. I really kind of don't like it that much. How about you?
I'm definitely gonna play it because it's important. If it was just like bonus content, I wouldn't. I do like first person games. I like puzzles and stuff like that. I'm gonna play it and beat it as soon as possible because it might have clues.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason.
Fair enough. So the next thing that started coming out of San Diego was the app. That actually dropped before San Diego actually started. And on the app, I don't know if they have plans to release it outside of America, but it's 6 different kind of seasons, quote unquote. So you've got seasons 1 to 4, the webisodes, and Heroes Reborn, I guess. What they want to use is they want to use the app to kind of speed binge is what they call it. So you have like a character and you can see their story throughout the season, but it's not going to be like, they're not going to be able to give you whole episodes of the show. It will just link to iTunes basically, and you can kind of download them from there. And also with the app dropping, the first episode of Heroes Reborn Dark Matters, the prequel kind of webisode series, dropped as well, which I think that they're releasing weekly. They still haven't said how they're going to release it, but I know that it's going to properly be released from the 23rd. So yeah, we've already done a breakdown of the webisode, so find that one back in Rebellion's Reborn 1.
I think it might be a new one on the 23rd though, because
hopefully
we're supposed to have it's supposed to be 6 episodes of this, then 6 of the comic books, and then as the show is going 6 of the ebooks.
I think the way that they've done it seems all right. It's just the books kind of seem like they're coming a bit after, especially the way that the books are kind of written, which we'll get into later. But another thing coming out of San Diego was the Heroes Experience, and basically it was a tunnel type thing, and it had 2 paths. The first path, you could go into like a heroes gallery and see lots of props from the show. You saw like Claire's bloody cheerleader uniform from when Sylar first attacked her. You saw like pictures of HRG and the family and broken horn rim glasses, Peter's like passport, all these kind of little things that, you know, if you watched Heroes Season 1, you would know what they were. And on the other side, they had a kind of 4D experience was what they were calling it. And it was based on the kind of Kinect kind of technology. And you had the power of pyrokinesis. Yeah, the way that they did it was kind of like an ARG game. Like someone would welcome you and say, welcome to Renatus. You are going in for scanning. And so that kind of gives you a couple of hints about what Renatus is about in the show. And yeah, it ends with you being able to do one of those kind of new Heroes Reborn motion GIF poster type things with you holding your hands out a la Meredith with fire in them. But yeah, loads of people were sending that out during San Diego, which was kind of cool.
I didn't get a chance to do that, but I did see a lot of the cool stuff they had from Season 1.
Everything else that came out from San Diego, there are going to be 6 ebooks coming out. So the 6 books that we have are, the first one's going to be Brave New World, and that drops on the 25th of September, I believe. Yes.
Yep, and it's $2.99. You can pre-order it on Amazon.
Yeah.
For Kindle and stuff. And that, I think if you have like an e-reader, that's kind of the best way to go about it. Pre-order it so you don't forget about it, and it's just there that morning of. That's how I'm doing it.
And apparently that ties into the first episodes of Heroes Reborn. The second, or I'm taking it that this is going to be the second one that they've just put in an order. The next one's called A Matter of Trust, which focuses on a priest with a dark secret, which...
Catchy! Shady!
Exactly. The next one is called Nobody, and it involves the power and curse of physical attraction. So that kind of sounds like... Did you ever watch a British show called...
Misfits?
Yes, Misfits. Sounds like that girl.
Oh, it does.
So who knows? Well, we'll obviously learn more about that as we kind of read it. The next one is... They haven't given a name, but they've given a description as a cat and mouse thriller about a murderous husband and wife couple whose next intended victim proves to be highly elusive. So that's more than likely going to be about the Collinses.
The Collinses?
Yeah. Yes. Next up, we have an action-packed tale of police corruption, which, coming out of San Diego, I think it's fair to say that that's going to be about Dylan Bruce's character, who is very much a secret. And it doesn't seem like he's going to be in a lot of episodes, but it seems like they're kind of pushing it like he's going to be quite a major character. So, and the last one is called Save the Cheerleader, Destroy the World. And it tells the full story of what happened to everyone's favourite cheerleader, Claire Bennett with one T.
So
yes.
it hashtag inside jokes. So, I mean, that's pretty much saying that even if this is an anthology series, they have no hope. Basically, Hayden Panettiere told them to piss off. And so they have to kind of wrap this up. Is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from that particular thing.
Well, if what we expect is going to happen with the Odessa kind of blowing up, it seems that she has something to do with it, and it's got to be something leading into the kind of first couple of days, or like the days towards that, and then seeing what happens either before or afterwards, depending on whether or not, you know, they're going to try and keep her around or kill her off or whatnot. But I guess we'll have to wait until that book comes out, obviously. So, yeah.
Like the juiciest one, though. Like, I'm like, can't you just put that first?
They want to keep you around on tenterhooks. Maybe it's just one of those things that they kind of don't want to reveal because it will kind of spoil Heroes Reborn. So Heroes Reborn is shooting around the world, apparently, and not just LA like before. Robbie Kay's character can make people disappear. That's his power, which I kind of called by saying he could kind of teleport people.
Is it like the Stephen Canfield thing, or is it something else?
That's the thing. They've said that, well, he said that his character doesn't know what happens to them once he's teleported them somewhere. I don't know if that's a Stephen Canfield reference or anything like that, but you also in the kind of trailer that they showed at San Diego, it shows that he uses the powers on the Collinses. So I don't think that they go too far, because it seems like
it's a wormhole then.
Yeah. They also, Tim said that you would find out what happened to Sylar, Claire, and Peter by the Heroes Reborn finale. Wendy and Lisa are back, but we knew that. Reborn is going to be canon with the rest of the Heroes universe, and they're not doing a Star Wars and just going to rewrite everything. Apparently everything from Heroes, whether it be the graphic novels or the ARGs, they're all still canon.
Except for that book.
Saving Charlie is not canon. It was revealed that Danica Urash is the Aurora Girl, or Melina, like I kind of said. And they also showed a couple of trailers. They showed the trailer from the games, which, if you listen to it closely, someone says something along the lines of formula should give them powers. So it's obvious that, well, not obvious, but it seems like that there are synthetic abilities still in this kind of universe, which I think is interesting, especially the fact that these two girls have kind of really weird powers, like localized time travel and telekinesis. I don't see them having any kind of correlation. Do you know what I'm saying?
And the fact that they're sisters and they have the same powers.
The way I see it is like you can kind of have powers. You can have more than one power if they kind of relate, like the kind of telepathy and telekinesis. There's an overlap there, but it's not like that Marvel thing where you've got loads of random powers put into one person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hashtag Peter Petrelli.
Yes, exactly. So they showed that trailer. They showed another 3-minute new trailer, which was a mix of like all the previous trailers with lots of new footage. The panel ended with a special clip of Hero arriving, kicking ass, double swording it, a la Darth Maul is what he said himself, and killing someone. But he also mentions a place called the Eternal Fortress, especially like when you've got like names like the Eternal Fortress and the Quarry, but maybe it's just his little hideout.
Ooh, let's have a hero cycle, please!
Exactly. Also, when some of the people came out, they were wearing special t-shirts. HRG was wearing a t-shirt that said Kiki is my hero, which obviously was a reference to Kiki Suzani. Henry Zabrowski was wearing one called which said Eve is my hero, which obviously is a reference to Eve Harlow, who is part of the show. And Rhea Kilstead was wearing one that said Klee is my hero, which really confused me because I had no idea who this person Klee was until I asked on Twitter and someone let me know. He's someone called Klee Bennett, and he is basically the black guy who turns up a lot in the kind of trailer, and I think you kind of even spot him in some of the webisode kind of next week on Heroes Reborn Dark Matter. So yeah, it seems like...
interesting power though, right?
Yes. It turns out he has the power of cloning, which kind of makes sense in the fact that he seems like he's everywhere. Also, the fact that he kind of gets killed off by Hero in the clip that they showed, because, you know, if there's loads of them, they can kill off loads of them.
But was it the Prime that Hero killed?
Exactly. Or they'll probably call it the Root, as they did in the...
Ooh, to that reference.
So, a couple of things about the trailer I wanted to bring up. You see a man walking with a lucha mask on. That's a reference to the Heroes Vengeance comic, I reckon. And I reckon that that's the guy who's the vigilante who we believe, like here at Primatech Files, believe that it is Carlos or Ryan Guzman's character. So, yes. There was also a kind of someone called Papa's Ben gave us a theory. The Flying Man obviously looks a bit in the trailer looks kind of oriental.
Right, Ricky.
Yeah. The what?
You did
the Flying Man.
There you go.
Frying Man. Frying Man looks, not to be racist, a little bit oriental. Miko Otomo, or Kiki Suzani's character, is looking for her father. So maybe that is something to do with it. Also, someone else pointed out that in the kind of AA anonymous meeting that Zachary Levi's character is in, that there's an Asian man in there as well, so maybe that's him as well, and he kills. But, you know, this is all speculation at this point. So, that was the San Diego Comic-Con, or the panel anyway. What did you watch the panel? What did you think of it?
Yeah, the panel was fun and interesting and informative, and it, like, no offense to the earlier Comic-Con panels that Heroes done, but, like, they were just kind of, like, not as informative, and we only got like deleted scenes a lot of the time previously, so this was really cool. It
also felt like a really big event. Like, I don't know like how kind of Comic-Con works, but like last thing on a Sunday seems kind of big, but that's to me anyway. But, you know, just the way that they introduced everyone, like they introduced them to what? Back in Black, and everyone like walked on stage. It just felt really, really like an event. And I really quite enjoyed it, especially with like the little surprise bits that they had. Jimmy Jean-Louis turn up, but they kind of gave that away. Well, Henry Zabrowski kind of gave that away because he did a quick periscope before the panel, and you could see Jimmy Jean in the background. He even came up and looked up.
Dude, Periscope was so huge at Comic-Con. It was crazy.
That's how I managed to see most of the stuff inside the Heroes Reborn experience through that. It was really quite cool. And then they had Hero turn up, or Masaoka turn up on the big screen saying he couldn't make it. Lights went out, and he came onto what I would assume was a thunderous roar, doing like the yatar pose. It would have been something really special to see, I think. But yeah,
they've stepped up their game, and I'm just so happy. Like, I remember like early on when they were keeping everything sick, I'm like, I don't know, this sounds like a bad sign. Yep. But like now I'm thinking about it, if I wasn't doing this podcast and I hadn't done any spoilers, and then to go to Comic-Con, I would be backtracking through all the spoilers at this point and theory crafting and having my little heroes web with pictures and.
Next up, they also had a Nerd HQ panel. We might be treading over a couple of things, but I'm kind of feel like I have to bring some of these up. So they basically were asked to just describe their characters. So Rhea described Erica Kravid as an all-powerful, all-knowing single mother. Basically, the Collinses are both seeking retribution for the loss of their son. We already know that Quentin Frady, or Henry Zabrowski's character, is the guy who pulls HRG back into the game because of his conspiracy theoriness. I think it's interesting to see the difference between Henry Zabrowski's character in the webisodes and in the trailer, because obviously there's quite a big difference, I think anyway. Melina, Danica Urash, she was someone who embraced her powers from an early age, been told that she's been destined for great things, and she's been in training essentially for the past couple of years. Greg Grunberg described Parkman as the artillery, and basically when something needs to get done, you call in the heavy hitters. That's no slight on his weight, but you call in the heavy hitters, and he's the heavy hitter. We found out Ryan Guzman's character is called Carlos Gutierrez, and he's presented with an opportunity, with a chance to change his life. My theory crafting is that he's the vigilante, and I believe that the lucha mask is like it's a mantle that someone takes up to kind of protect the world, and that's what he's been presented with at the beginning of the season. Tommy Clark is on the run from his power. That is the guy who's Robbie K plays. Emily is an all-American girl next door trying to figure her way through life, and she is played by Gatlin Green. And that is it. We also obviously know that the term Evos are used for evolved humans. And what do you think about all the stuff that's just been said?
I feel like I'm going to be rooting for the Collinses, honestly.
Yeah?
I don't know, man. Like, for the first couple episodes, I might be rooting for them. I don't know. But, like, all these characters seem really interesting, and it's going to be fascinating to see. I think they're definitely going to keep it in true hero fashion where everything interweaves together and comes to a point. But because it's being built as an event series and not, like, a jumping off point for an anthology series, like, I don't know, like, what a good satisfactory ending is going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm worried about is the ending.
Especially the way that they've kind of said that it's going to be like a definitive beginning, middle, and end.
Oh, and one thing that I want to say about Carlos's last name, because I think the, like, names, writers really put a lot of importance in stock in the names. His last name is Gutierrez, and it can either mean, it means battle or sword, like originally were in the Spanish.
Oh, cool. The last couple of things that I just wanted to bring up from the San Diego weekend was obviously they're trying to create a heroes universe. So that's, you know, in that they've got the webisode, the comic, the app, and the books, and that's what's helping to create it. I'd recommend following at Heroes Universe on Twitter. They always give you updates on stuff. Something that the final couple of things that Tim Kring said was the original catchphrase, "Save the cheerleader, save the world," was something that was kind of just lightning in a bottle, and they didn't even use it. They weren't generally trying to use it as a catchphrase for like the show or like a call to arms. It was just something that was taken by the marketing department randomly and kind of just put out there, and something that just happened, and it came out naturally and it wasn't forced. And they said that they're not going to do anything for this season. If it does, it's going to something that happens naturally from the fandom, not something that they've kind of put out there.
Ricky, don't worry, we got this covered. They got Primatech Files now. We got this.
And he said the main difference between Heroes and Heroes Reborn is that in Heroes they were ordinary or extraordinary people hiding from a world that didn't know about them, whereas in Heroes Reborn they're extraordinary people hiding from a world that knows about them. So yeah.
I can't express how excited I am. And that NBC actually came to Tim Kring. He didn't beg at their feet. They came to him. And they're working together very closely, and they kind of realized what they kind of imposed on him by having 3 episodes in the first season when it really didn't need to be.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like they've kind of realized what they had and what they kind of ruined, I think. So they're just kind of letting him do what he wants to do and just kind of throwing money at him every now and then, because they've said that they went back and reshot or added more graphics to the first episode just to kind of beef it up a little bit, which sounds great. Do you know what I'm saying? It sounds like they're kind of, just supporting him this time as opposed to confining him. So yeah. The only other thing is I have there was loads of interviews over the weekend, obviously, so I will go through some of the stuff that I found out from there. So yes, the first one was an interview via Give Me My Remote with Dylan Bruce, and he just explains his character. His character is a survivalist with skeletons in his closet, and he is exploiting a lot of the social injustices. And he was kind of not comparing, but obviously he gets asked a lot of questions about Orphan Black. His character was called Paul Dearden, and when someone brought up the character of Paul Dearden, he said that his character's last name begins with D. And obviously in one of the breakdowns of one of the clips, Tursin had a picture of Behind Noah, and it was if you look at it now, you can tell it's a picture of Dylan Bruce with the name James Deering underneath. So take with that what you will. Tim Kring described Dylan Bruce's character as a cop, he's not such a good guy, and he's got a secret. Next up was a small interview with Ryan and Judith, and it was by Seat 42F, and they asked Ryan who he would compare his superhero muses to for his character, and he said The Punisher, Batman, and Iron Man, and I think that brings up more of the kind of aspect of the vigilanteism that we expect him to be. And Joanne, I keep on calling them by the character names, but Judith said that her character doesn't have any powers. So I think we kind of have to assume that at this point, neither of them have powers, but they could kind of surprise us towards the middle. Next up, we had an interview with Hero Site. It was Masioka, and the only kind of things that he brought up was Alan Arkush is directing one of the episodes. He's not going to be Future Hero. He's going to be a hybrid of Future Hero and Old Hero, just a bit more matured. And he obviously doesn't know what happened with Ando at the moment because he shot his 3 episodes and nothing kind of was brought up in those episodes. So who knows? Who knows if there's going to be something that they can tag on.
I'm calling it. They're superimposing their scenes together, dude.
Oh, it will be like Hero and Future Hero talking to each other, kind of. Oh, no, it won't. It'll be... Sorry, that didn't happen. It was Peter and Future Peter walking side by side at the beginning of season 3. But yeah. Another interview with Hero Site was with Parkman and... Greg and Jack Coleman. Greg said that Parkman is doing something unexpected, which kind of leads me to believe that it's 5 years gone, Greg, because of the way he kind of turns up in the trailer. Greg said that he wanted to do a kind of Talking Bad show after Heroes, kind of that audience interaction kind of deal, which San Diego, moderating the panel at San Diego was the start of. So obviously it's something that he's trying to get off the ground.
Go to G4.
Yeah.
Go to G4. Because didn't they used to do the post show for Heroes?
I don't know, because I'm over in.
Oh, yeah, Well, us Americans remember. I don't even know if G4 is a network anymore, honestly.
No, it's not anymore, I don't think.
Oh, well. Can't do that.
But maybe they could just do something on the website. Maybe it could just be extra content for the Heroes Reborn website, or something for the YouTube page. Something, anything. But I think it's a good idea. I don't know about Greg. Greg kind of what did you think of Greg hosting the panel?
I like it, but it needs a little work. It kind of reminds me of the first episode that Will Wheaton did on his show when he finally got it on a network. But then it got better and better and better. So he's just a little rusty.
Yeah. And there's a scene that Greg and Jack did, which they both described as amazing, and said that Greg was extracting information from Jack, which makes me think that Parkman is kind of working for the government, or maybe even Renatus in that kind of 5 years gone.
Maybe he's a Mohinder doing a double agent situation.
Well, who knows? Hopefully he's going to have the salt and pepper kind of look still, but who knows? I know you like that, so yeah. The next are from a couple of interviews from Legion of Leah on YouTube, and one of them was with Masaoka, and the only thing of note was that Hiro is still in charge of Yamagato Industries, which kind of, it's that kind of hiding thing. I think it's kind of a good kind of way of keeping him hidden.
Where's Hiro's blog if he's still running Yamagato Industries?
Maybe that's something that's just going to appear out of nowhere, or something that they're going to bring, just randomly put on somewhere, and you'll kind of have to find it. I don't know. Who knows? Another one was on Legion of Leia, was an interview with Tim Kring, and he was asked about the characters who hadn't turned up, or the actors who weren't brought to Comic-Con. Obviously, Kiki Suzani wasn't there, but as I found out on the day, she was still in Canada shooting. We found out that we obviously know her name is Miko, but her friend is called Ren. I'm assuming that is Toru Uchigado's character, and Tim described him as a gamer who lights the fuse for Miko's story to start. And Tim also said that Miko is the most mysterious character in the show. And he also said that Dylan Bruce is connected to Ryan Guzman's story, plays a bad cop trying to catch Evos. So yeah, what do you think about that kind of stuff?
I'm really digging it. I'm starting to see where this could go, and how we started off Heroes with this certain batch of people here, this certain batch of people there, and they're just cutting their way through the jungle to each other. And so, but it's these are unexpected people that I was not expecting to be kind of their story related. So it's gonna be.
And the last couple of interviews I have are from TV Equals. The first one was one of them was with Danica and Robbie, but the main things that came up was Danica kind of confirmed the power of controlling the elements for Melina, and she describes her as secluded and always kind of been in her own kind of bubble, and she'd been in Alaska for kind of the past 2 years training, and she doesn't see her powers as a bad thing, whereas the way that I kind of saw it was she's been homeschooled essentially, because she doesn't know anything that's going on outside her bubble, so she doesn't know that the world kind of fears them. She's just been happily going along learning about her powers. So yeah. Another one that came out was with Masaoka, again by TV Equals, which had Masaoka saying that Hiro interacts with one of the new. He was describing Masi was talking about who he'd been working with on the show. He said he worked with about 50% of the old characters, and by that I think we know for definite that he works with Mohinder in 1, because that's what the kind of clip, the Darth Maul clip, was from. But he also said that Hiro interacts with someone new, and they have quite a close bond, and it's not the obvious choice. So he says that there's Yatars in there. He sees, whereas Jack Coleman has been brought in to be kind of the bridge and the spine of the new show for the old one, Massey kind of sees his role on the show as passing of the torch, because he described every season as an arc for Hiro that kind of he felt was resolved quite well.
Way to toe that company line.
I know, right? And the last thing was an interview with Rhea Kilstead, and she kind of brought up quite a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, we know that she's a single mother, and I thought that it was going to be Molly or Francesca Eastwood who was going to be playing her daughter, but it's not. It's Eve Harlow, and there is a conflict between them. So from the way that she's talking about it, it doesn't seem that Rhea Kilstead's character has any powers. Her powers are just like her immense mind and kind of the conglomerate behind her. So yeah, Clee Bennett, or the Cloning McGinty, as I'm going to call him for the next couple of shows. He is her henchman, so he's basically the Haitian to her HRG. She says that she's only really dealing with those kind of characters, those other two, but she says now that she's getting a bit deeper into the show and getting a bit deeper into like the filming, she started to interact with HRG a lot more, Tommy, and the girls. So by the girls, I'm assuming he means Emily, Gatlin Green, and Melina / Danica Urash. So yes, I also saw a picture of, like, there's been two people who have kind of been off the radar, who were announced but nothing's really been said about them. And it's Francesca Eastwood. She had like one of the posters about her. But there's one guy who hasn't been talked about at all, which is, I think it's Vince Pruitt. I can't remember his full name, but I did see a picture on Instagram of him and Francesca Eastwood in a scene, what seemed like a scene together, but and he also is in the trailer. If you look very carefully, he shows up really quickly. But there's nothing been said about him either, or her. So apart that, she's human, which we got from an article. But yeah, what do you think of all this?
I don't know. I'm a little bummed out that she doesn't have powers. I'm interested to see what the conflict is. Hopefully it's not like a West situation.
I think the conflict might be that she has power, like her daughter has powers, and it's something that she might have to be keeping under wraps, a la season 1 HRG.
I don't know if I want to reach that. Especially with another teenage girl. I'm sure they can bring something fresh to it.
Let's hope. That is everything coming out of San Diego.
We here at Prime and Tech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have tons of ways you can do that. You can email us via primeandtechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/primeandtechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Prime and Tech Files. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube simply by searching for Prime and Tech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? Don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We can be found on all sorts of podcatcher services, such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Prime Tech Files. We are also on Libsyn. To follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primetechfiles.libsyn.com. Libsyn is spelled IBSYN.com. And bookmark us to stay up to date with this podcast. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that could interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are Queen Consolidated and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbingers.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbingers just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RickyJDiaz, or Z if you're American.
That is all we have for you. We hope you enjoyed our splooge of information from this edition of Rebellion Reborn. Ricky, know what to do.
Keep the rebellion alive.